This is Swerve Strickland from AEW, and you watching The Game Plan. Whose house?
Hey everybody, this is Giancarlo Aulino and Aaron Zaretsky reporting for The Game Plan, and we're happy to be joined by our guest today who's going to be talking about an exciting pair of events coming back to Toronto. He is one of the big stars of AEW. He is Swerve Strickland. How you doing, Swerve?
Doing well. I'm doing well. A little bit of pain, but doing well overall.
That's great. And Swerve, as we mentioned here, AEW making their big return to Toronto. Dynamite, Coca-Cola Coliseum. You're a big part of programming right now. You're a part of the big main event there with Samoa Joe, Hangman. This feud has been going on for a few months, and I don't know what's going on with Hangman. He seems to be mad that you're in the title picture. Like, can you just talk to our listeners and viewers here about this whole feud and rivalry you got going on with Hangman Page?
Well, it all started from the simple fact that, I just wanted to be in the same spot that he was. This was really started from the fact that he kind of took for granted the opportunities that he was given, and that he was placed in the beginning of the company of AEW. And I wasn't there. I wasn't there at the beginning of AEW, but I seen what was going on over there, and it was something that I was like, man, I would really like to be a part of that. And I seen all the things that Hangman was doing, winning the tag team titles with Kenny Omega, going on to beat Kenny to become AEW World Champion or beating Don Moxley to become AEW World Champion and stuff like that. I was like, man, this guy's really fantastic. But somewhere along the line, he lost who he was, and he didn't appreciate those accolades as much. Things and transgressions that happened between all that time. I feel like I was a spark that came in and woke him up a little bit and yo, you know who you are. You're one of the staples of this company, and I challenge that. If you're not going to take advantage of it, I will. If you're not going to take pride in that, I'll take your spot and I'll take pride in that. You know what I mean? So it went on to those things, and it ended up us culminating to Revolution, going for the AEW World Championship. And you see this band truly going mad in the last couple months over the fact that he just can't beat me. One. Two, the fact that the fans are really taking to me a little bit more than they took to him. In the beginning, he was the big main character of AEW. Now it seems to be I am. Everybody's watching me and waiting to see me tell my story and follow me along. And I took that right from Hangman, and he sees a lot of the fact that, man, I was right in the end. I was right all along. And that eats at him, and you've seen in Revolution that he just really didn't want to see me win. And he succeeded in that.
And at AEW Revolution, you put on a show in the World Heavyweight title match. What does it mean to be a part of the World Heavyweight title picture in AEW?
It was a goal that I set out to do. And the fact that it was 2 Revolutions ago I debuted to now you're seeing a full circle moment. I would say that it was a big deal for me. First, if it was a big deal, honestly, to see to know that an African American is going for the AEW World Championship on pay-per-view is the first time in the AEW's history. Me to be in that position, that meant a lot to me. I hope that meant a lot to a lot of people out there watching, to see representation, to see a little bit more diversity, to see the fact that hopefully y'all are riding with me from day one, and people that weren't, that had to open up their eyes a little more, and I had to work a little harder to turn a lot more heads and to prove a lot of people wrong. I hope that defined that. I hope that me being in the World Championship match on pay-per-view, co-headlining with Sting, hope that meant something to a lot of people. It meant a lot to just be right under Sting and sharing main events with him, but it meant a lot to just be in the position that I was to do that.
A special moment for sure. And you just mentioned Sting at AEW Revolution. It was his final match. What are your thoughts on Sting, his final match, and what is your favorite moment of Sting?
Man, that match was incredible. For one, that was one of the ways that a lot of veterans probably wish they could go out in a special way like that. not just in the fact of like the match itself, but just like the whole moment of the whole presentation, your children being able to share that moment with you on stage, the video packages showing going down memory lane, getting a proper send off, getting 16,000 people to sell out an arena to come watch you. Like, not a lot of people get that opportunity to really go out with a swan song as beautiful as Sting. So it was really important to me to sit there and watch that and really be there for his moment. You know, I shared a moment with him at Wembley, you know, like 80,000 people, you know, going against that man in a tag match. So I'm really proud to be a part of that last couple years of Sting and his legacy. It was really emotional as well to be on the stage watching and like celebrating him with everybody. That's probably one of the since I've been there, one of the main times where I've seen our locker room so united for like one cause and a greater cause than just ourselves, you know. And I haven't seen that in a locker room like probably just like that moment ever, you know. So that was huge, and to do that for Sting, it was worth it.
And you mentioned they're all in, just wrestling Sting and being a part of that card, that historic event. What was it like when you're looking around the stadium at Wembley and you're looking across the ring from you and you see Sting?
Childhood, like glee, you know what I mean? Like, it was almost one of those moments you got to pinch yourself and really like, whoa, I'm here and I belong here. I'm here, and like I worked my ass off, and it doesn't seem like I'm just here just to fill a space. I'm here because, you know, everybody a part of this wanted to be a part of this, and they like put this together to make this happen, you know. And Sting had no problem doing it. He had a great time. He had an awesome time, but that match was like brutal as well. People take for granted how brutal that match actually was. We did a lot of like incredibly like brutal stuff in there, and Sting was like hung every part of the way, you know. Sting was part of my growth into who I am now as a main eventer. Like, without Sting and putting me in that coffin and me coming out 2 weeks later to confront Hangman Page a couple weeks later, I don't have that evolution, I don't have that growth as a character and on-screen persona without Sting, you know. So All In meant the world, and to be able to like hit double spears with Christian on Sting and Darby was also a pretty awesome moment.
And like just even Sting too, I'm sure like a lot of wrestlers, Tony Khan was also talking about it, like Sting, how he is behind the scenes too. Like his impact on AEW is just more than on the screen and every episode of Dynamite or Rampage, Collision, and pay-per-views. Like he's also a guy behind the scenes that a lot of wrestlers can approach. So what does it mean to you that a veteran like Sting, everything he's accomplished in his career, is giving back like that? And like, did you have any interactions where you took away something from just interacting with him backstage?
Just humility, man. Just having humility, knowing timing and winning, knowing who you are to use who you are in that ring. Not just like resting off of like your actions, resting off of who you are, and like just as a professional, as a persona, just like, and then just knowing as a veteran how to conduct yourself in the locker room, you know, how to be a leader without having to be like commanding, you know what I mean? Like he just led in so many different ways and was so supportive. And honestly, like, he gave praise where it was like what praise was really meant. Like he really, truly, like when he came out and gave you praise and like complimented you, he was really paying attention. He was really watching. He was really focused on whatever you're doing, whether it's a promo, whether it's a match. It didn't matter. Like, and that's going to be missed. I feel like a lot of people are going to miss that aspect of Sting, just like having like, those things around. We got to be on our A game, you know, that kind of thing. You know, just having this presence there makes you want to step up and like be at your absolute very best. And that's really good, you know.
This is Aaron Zaretsky and Giancarlo Aulino with Swerve Strickland of AEW on the game plan. Swerve, you were also a rapper You have a debut album, which is out. And you also worked with Rick Ross on an episode of AEW Dynamite. What was that experience like being working with Rick Ross?
It was awesome. Rick is amazing. He's funny. He's charismatic as hell. He came in ready to just like jump in and dive in and let's get ready to like not just to work but just have fun. It didn't feel like work with Rick. He just always felt like he was just having fun and he just wanted to like hang around and just like pal around. He just getting in the locker room, his dressing room, and laying out all his jewelry and what he's going to wear and all these outfits and shoes and all that. I was like, nah, this is a star. This is a superstar. But it was also just so much fun to be around, man. He was cool. But it was great. It was a good time.
And with your rap career, when did you like start to like realize that, hey, you know what? I'm a good wrestler. I can also be a good rapper too. And what is like the balancing like between rapping and wrestling?
Rapping is like, I'm still trying to necessarily get good at it. And it takes a long time to really, a lot of reps, a lot of just like hours to really get good at rapping. I'm still saying I'm working at my craft and I've only been doing it about 4 or 5 years, but I have like 4 albums to really say for that. So like just the productivity with the experience is like kind of like pretty, I feel like it's pretty good that I'm putting out. I feel like there's times like you have to turn your wrestling brain off at times just to refresh, to come back the next week, to be able to like have a fresh mind to go back in the wrestling game again on a weekly basis like, of TV. It's really cool for when I turn that brain off, I can turn the rap brain on and get a whole different space of like really creative and learning and like using different functions that you not necessarily have to do in wrestling. I've been wrestling for 15 years. Like rapping for 4 or 5, it's really refreshing to jump back into something that you have to start all the way from scratch on and learn a new craft. And it's exciting again. And also to like get all these opportunities with music. Like I've been performing on stage with Eric Bellinger and then to do the Jericho cruise and perform with my friends, then to like rap on songs with like Benny the Butcher. It will producers like Chase the Money, Prophet, Jay Oliver and guys like that have worked with juggernauts, like guys that produced for Rick Ross, guys that produced for Kanye, guys that produced for J. Cole and JID, and have that assortment of guys around me is really motivating. West Side Gun and guys like that. That's like, yo, you're dope. We see you, we hear you, and stuff like that. Like being around guys like that is really inspiring. And like even have a Tech Nine to be just come in and like, hey, I want to do a song with you. I'm like, oh wow. So that goes to show me I'm like in the right place and I'm in the right like movement. I have motion in a sense. And so I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep on doing trusting my gut, trusting my instincts and my skills, and really following through.
And also, like, your theme song, too, has been catching on with fans. Like, Prince Nana comes out, the fans are engaged. Also, when you were on the independent circuit as well, you had Ain't Nobody, and you had just that connection with the crowd when you came out. Like, where did that come for you, where it's like you're not just making an entrance and going to the ring, you're actually getting the crowd engaged into the song and into your character?
That was something I learned from the independents, like I came out to Jackson 5, and CZ when I debuted at CZW. It was Sammy Callahan's idea that really started that. And then when I went over to the UK and then came back, I noticed how UK fans really take to certain songs. And so when I was at my mom's birthday party and everybody was sitting down, all my family and relatives were just sitting down chilling. And my uncle put on his aux cable on this phone and he played Ain't Nobody by Shaka Khan. And everybody got up, started dancing. I'm like, that's going to be my next entrance song. So I switched it over, went over, like, it was like kind of like I matured in the wrestling game when my music matured, my entrance themes. So I went from Jackson 5 to Shaka Khan. Then I went from Shaka Khan to like Big Pressure. And then that was my own music. And that was produced by Prophet, who has 2 Grammys. So that had to turn into arena music from a music from all over the world, no matter how big the arena, from like, Gas South Arena in Atlanta to all the way to Wembley Stadium, how's this song going to sound? The acoustics have to bang. And sure enough, it worked on both.
That's great too, because it shows like the importance of a theme song for a wrestler. Like, do you think that's lost at times when like it's just hidden that a lot of guys, they're known with their entrance theme and what they make out of it? Do you think more attention needs to be paid to some younger wrestlers coming up?
It's definitely about timing and hitting when it needs to hit. Sometimes it's not the character isn't ready for that yet. And sometimes you got to kind of coincide. Both have to match. To me, I watch a lot of concerts, and that's what helped with that as well. It wouldn't have made sense for, Tyler Creator to come out with the certain songs and certain albums and points of his career because it wouldn't have matched up. Like Earthquake wouldn't have worked when he was doing Bastard album and doing, when he was doing the Wolf album. It's just two different personas, and it just doesn't match up. But he evolved, and so did the stage presence, so did the outfits, so did the sound. Now it makes sense for this record to work with this part of your career in your life. So that's something that a lot of young people need to really understand and really pay attention to. Like your Videotron has to match the look, which has to match the entrance, which has to match the sound, which has to match the aura that you're giving off to the people and how they feel about you. They don't feel like bouncing and jumping after you hit someone in the car with a car in the backstage segment. It's just not going to add up. So all those things have to kind of match and line up in synchronicity. That's why when I was let go from WWE and coming over to AEW, I just wiped the slate clean. I wasn't going to carry over with the same thing. I had to wipe the slate clean. I had to start all over again. I wasn't going to carry in any like NXT, WWE type of persona. I was like, no, I'm going to start way over here and then work from here. And even though like I could have got a head up in AEW, like just carrying over from what I was doing, but I was like, no, I'm going to start down here, but it's new, fresh, all over, like hard reset, and then just go from build and rebuild from there and then build a new fan base I'm not going to act like anybody ever seen or knew who I was from over there. Some on the internet did, but the majority don't. And I'm always going to take the majority assumption that not everybody knew.
This is Aaron Zaretsky and Giancarlo Aulino here with Swerve Strickland of AEW on the game plan. Swerve, so as you said, you were in WWE and unfortunately you were let go. What was it an easy process to transition from WWE to AEW? Because it's never easy to be let go from a company. Was it easy, or like was there any like learning experience from that whole time during your career?
It was a simple. I would say it wasn't easy. I would say it was a simple transition. It was like, was there interest? Was there interest, and was there going to be investment? And the end up being a yes, but there was still challenges for me personally as a professional that I had to go through. I had to implement myself in a whole new locker room around whole new veterans that once again knew me, some didn't know me, some were familiar with me, some were not familiar with me. Then I had to gain that trust from the locker room. Then I had to gain that trust from the staff and management and be able to understand like, hey, I'm a team player. I want to be a part of this product. It's not just about me getting mine. No, I want to help grow the product as well. And whatever I can do to help be a part of that growth, I'm willing to do it. I want to work. I want to constantly work with everybody. I don't care who. And then I would say mainly it was that time period, the 90 days between, it was really just gathering all my resources outside of pro wrestling, and then like coming in with just like a wealth of just like all these accessories and all these other things that I come with. I'm not just a professional wrestler. I'm coming in with like music acumen. I'm coming in with like connections with this. I have coming in with my podcast. I'm coming in with that. I'm coming in with these connections with the clothing brands, and I'm coming in with a team. There's a lot that comes with Swerve rather than just my in-ring wrestling. And I think that's what helped also give me a leg up in a lot of situations, because I bring more to the table than just in ring. I bring a lot of other assets.
And would you say like being released, it fueled your drive to come back better, stronger, or like to prove WWE wrong in a sense for them to let you go?
Not to prove WWE wrong. It was just to understand. I'm like, oh, that was a mistake doing that. And now I'm powered up even more. Watch, like, it almost feels like, all right, watch what Tony Khan can do with me, when allowing me to be me, and I'm not necessarily like out to prove them, but I'm just like, I do want to kind of let him know, like, this was what could have been, in a sense. But now it's like what I'm doing over in AEW is bigger than everything I even imagined as well. It's like Tony Khan is like on my back as well, in a sense. It's almost like Tony Khan is like battery powering me in a lot of ways to be like, I can make this man one of the biggest stars in wrestling, so I appreciate that with him, but like I said, I always say WWE is going to do what they do. They're with or without me, they're going to make their millions and billions, so it's no love lost from them. It's no love lost from me. I also got to be where I'm happy and where I'm going to be like succeed the best way that I can,
Just on that too, like if you see AEW programming now, and whether you're going on the microphone or Prince Nana's going on the microphone and saying whose house, it's like louder and louder every week, Swerve's house. So what does it mean to you now when you're seeing the fan reaction? And is it more difficult being, like, I guess, a baby face compared to a menacing heel?
No, I'm still being Swerve. They were doing that from day one. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm not going to change up because the fans or the feel or the stories going a different way. I'm still be me.
And also, like, how would you best describe AEW's programming to maybe somebody who's not familiar? Let's say they just casually watch and they see AEW pop up, the fans in Toronto that attend the show, maybe their kids watch and they're coming along to see it for the first time. How would you best describe it to them?
We're the best evolution of pro wrestling on national American or North American television. In my opinion, we are honestly the apex of pro wrestling. Like, as far as in-ring quality and what you get, like, what you truly always get what you pay for. You get more than what you pay for in a lot of sense when you come into an AEW show or you invest in the AEW product. It's mind-blowing, the type of roster we're put together from top to bottom, age, diversity, ethnicity. There's tons of Canadian-born superstars that we have across the roster, men, women, just like this is like one of the most challenging rosters to be a part of because, like, at the top, you have to bring your A game without a doubt. And it's not easy. It's not easy, but that's why we are elite. You have to, that in the name is truly defines and is our publication. It is our advertisement. It is our product placement. We are all elite wrestling, and we don't serve to just put on people in the ring that is just like going to put out like a minuscule product, especially at the top. No, we pride ourselves from every single person that we have on this roster. We pride ourselves on delivering the most elite, profound professional wrestling that you're going to see in the most unique way, in our own most unique way, individually.
And on the AEW roster, who is someone that you haven't wrestled that you would want to wrestle one day?
Pac.
Okay. And just also, like, off the top, you mentioned like being in the main event at AEW Revolution as an African American, special moment. What was it like working with fellow African American wrestler Keith Lee?
It was awesome. I never worked against him, but we tagged together, and he was always been amazing to work with.
You also touched on the roster, how exciting it is. Will Ospreay, who you're very familiar with, coming in. Okada coming in. So down the line, like, and you yourself, like those wrestlers had their big moments, like Ospreay against Omega last year at Forbidden Door, where it was like an exclamation point of, okay, he's ready to take it on from there and be a top guy. Like, who would be the opponent or even the feud, the rivalry, where fans would take away that, okay, Swerve now, he has the ball, but now we know for sure he can run with it?
I don't think there's any opponent that can do that. I think it's the championship. It's the championship and the placement on the card. Like, yeah, I don't think there's any opponent. I feel like I'm at the stage now, I need to be the opponent. When people are going up to try to be named as like, oh, you made it now. I want to be the guy that you wrestle to prove that. That's the stage I'm at. I don't think there's anybody out there because like I've wrestled them already. And if you didn't believe then or you didn't believe back then I got to do something different. And that's win that championship. Facing off against Samoa Joe, that didn't prove that to anybody. Too bad. Facing off against Bryan Danielson, that didn't prove that to anybody. That was one of those guys. Facing off against Sting, that didn't prove that already. You know, facing off against Jon Moxley in the Continental Classic twice, that doesn't prove that. Then I need to become the guy that they need to prove it to.
And before we wrap up here and let you go, how can our viewers here, listeners at The Game Plan, stay up to date with everything you're doing in AEW, your podcast, your music career? How can they stay up to date with everything?
For as far as music, Swerve the Realist on all listening products, you know, like Spotify, iTunes, Swerve the Realist, man. You Couldn't Be Me is the name of the album. Been out since May. A lot of heavy hitters, juggernauts on that album, produced wise and feature wise. You know, Flash Garments on there, Montezi, Benny the Butcher, you know, Rich Latta. There's a lot of great names and a lot of talented individuals that help produce and like put some music on there. Juice from Flatbush Zombies has a verse on there, and my man Anthony King from New York. He's a fantastic artist, so come check it out, man. And Swerve City album, all three of them, check them all out. You know, all streaming platforms and social media. Swerve Confident on everything, and check out this podcast right here, Swerve City Podcast, YouTube.com/Swerve City Podcast. Check us all out.
Highly recommend that follow. And Swerve, really appreciate you for sharing your time and coming on here on The Game Plan to talk all about this, and wish you all the best. And hopefully we'll see you with that AEW World Championship in the future.
Appreciate you.